Well, hello, this is Peter Combs from Bitamount.com and P.O. Combs Asian Art, located in Gloucester, Massachusetts. And today is Friday, June 21st, 2019, and this is our weekly look back at last week's eBay auction results. Take a look to see what's coming up next week. A few things up on Catawiki as well you want to pay close attention to, and sort of just go over how the week went. It was a pretty good week. And one of the things, before I get started, this week we did a blog, and we're going to follow up with a video next week on it, on a thing. If you sell on eBay, this is something you really want to pay close attention to, especially if you sell Chinese and Asian works of art on eBay, Japanese, whatever it is. I'm going to do a video about a thing called Cassini, and if you don't know what Cassini is and you use eBay, you should. Cassini is the search in basically the program logarithm for searches and categorizing and classifying and promoting and downgrading listings based on sets of criteria that eBay has in place. They have very crucial criteria that you need to know about in order to have a successful eBay listing, and this includes title, quality of photographs, the categories you put things into. They're known as structured data. And there are rules that you want to use, or this program will punish you in your listing results and in search results for not coming up to par, because you're competing with thousands of other sellers. There's 690 things right now in the Chinese category, for example, alone, and you're all competing to get onto page one of search results. And I'm going to go through that and explain pretty well how you can do it, what you should do, what you should absolutely never do regarding titles, what you have to do with photos and this kind of thing, because Cassini can actually do all that. I just read a report about it. Cassini can grade your photographs, which a lot of people don't know, and I'll get into that a bit. But if the picture is too dark, too light, blurry, Cassini sees it, gives you the thumbs down. All right, and I'm going to go through that in the video, but it's on the blog right now. If you want to come over and take a look at it, it'll be linked out of the newsletter, and I'll link it at the bottom of this video. And it's something you want to read and reread and really learn it, all right? Because this is what decides whether you do extremely well or you just do okay on eBay, okay? This is the machine that drives everything. All right, and now let's we'll do more on it later, because it's something that's become a big deal and you ought to know about it. All right, now over to eBay. See how things went last week. Let's see here. There was this. This was that really dandy jug, Qianlong period. Nice handle on it. Still had its lid, which is very unusual. Usually the lids on these are long gone. Here's a picture of the top. It's in good condition. It looked to be overall rather nice. Looked like it had a couple of minor nicks and whatnot, but this is a good early jug, and it did fine. It brought $530, but for the form, that's not a lot. Okay, in auctions I've seen these bring $1,200. So whoever got it got a nice early piece of Chinese porcelain, and it was very much decorated in the Chinese taste, which was interesting because this was made for export, and those were always interesting to me. And on to this was the ancient legends had this very nice 36 centimeter Kangxi charger. All right, over 12 inches, it's a charger. This is 14, 15 inches in diameter. Beautifully done, nice deep dark cobalt. I like the rim on this a lot, with this trailing serrated leaf decoration, creating cartouches filled with alternating, alternating with flowers and then birds and so forth. Nice looking plate, and it did pretty well. Did fine. It brought $782, which was a nice price for that. But it's a good looking plate, and it looked like it was in quite good condition. All right, and then on to this. He also had this up, was this very nice pair of Kangxi vases with these sort of garlic neck and then cup form mouths on the top. You'll notice that these are shaped like cups. Rather nice form, nice waisted body on it, nice shape on it, very, very simple. But they were a pair, which makes them interesting. And it's the kind of thing that if you don't have, as I love to have things on here that don't require endless wallets, they weren't cheap. But this is not a crazy price for these. And if you like good, authentic Chinese, early 18th century porcelain, these I think were a pretty nice buy. All right, and now over to this, the square form Yixing late 19th century teapot. But it's a good form. I like the inscription on it, and I love the handles. I love the symmetry of the handle, the spout, and the lid handle. Very square, very modern looking, very sort of chic. And these can be cleaned, even though this one was pretty dirty. These can be cleaned up. It's got the maker's mark on it if you want to go try and look it up. Here it is. It's got a little too close to the fire maybe when it was obviously used, which I like. I like things when they've been used. They have some character to them. And it ended up bringing $630, which wasn't a lot, which I think was a fairly reasonable price for that. That was a nice looking Yixing pot. All right, and then on to this, the tea caddy with hand-painted paper. They made these in the 19th and early 20th century, and they exported them. They had tea in them. This one's around 1 foot by 1 foot. It's got the original canister. It's a nifty export item. This one even, I think, had the name of the maker on it somewhere on the end. Here it is. I can't read it, but it's got an address on it. And they made these tea caddy boxes in the 19th century, and they turn up in estates in New England sometimes. When I was a child, my mother had 2 or 3 of them in our house that we used to put laundry and things in. They were fairly big. But this was a nice one, and it did just fine. In the end, it brought $1,612. A couple people asked me why I put this up, and that's why. These have become pretty collectible in recent years, especially when they're complete, have their liners, that nice old lock on it, and the colors are good. The colors are still nice and vibrant. And this came out of a collection in the United Kingdom, in Coleraine. All right, and then on to this. This, I think, was one of the nifty buys of the week. This is a nice burlwood Kuan figure. It's missing its hands. When they carved these, they made them so that you could insert the hands in here. They would carve the hands separately. One would go here, one would go there, and then they'd stick them in. All right, but this was a nice one. Had a very good, I think it was probably, looks like it might have been carved out of yew wood. I may be wrong. But beautiful surface on it, nice patina. This is an old one. Here's the root stand that it was on. This is a nice, probably early to mid-19th century example from what I can see. Love the Fu lion. All right, here's a side shot of it. And I think someone got a great buy on this. People that love wood carvings got a great buy. And this will clean up beautifully. It needs to be oiled because the surface on it looks kind of dry. But boy, this thing cleaned up. It looked fabulous. And it went for just $260. All right. Yeah, he dated his 18th and 19th century. I think it's probably early 19th, but still, heck of a nice carving. And I think that was an absolute bargain. I thought that was a great buy because this was pretty good size, too, as I recall. All right, and now on to this, another great rootwood bargain. This came from the Midwest. This was a fabulous thing. Again, with the hands missing, okay, but on a nice craggy root base. Here it is, all right. And this also was a bargain. I wish I bought them both, actually. This only went for $101. This was from Arthur Potts, rather, not in the Midwest, in the UK, rather, excuse me, in Dorset. And just a great wood carving. I really liked that. That was a nice one. And it's funny, I was thinking of throwing a bid on them, and I didn't. Oh, well. Leave a bid, Peter. All right, and then on to this. This was something Arthur Potts had also, and this was a very nice first half of the 19th century Famille Rose landscaped teapot, and this is a very popular form. The way they shaped this spout with a nice big elbow on it, and then sort of mirroring off the handle, and then this nice lid. Just a beautiful example. Here's a picture of the underside of the top, good white porcelain, sit nicely on the surface, and ended up doing pretty well. It brought $1,295, which is right in the range that they typically bring. If they have a lot more decoration on them and are even more done out, and some of them are, with more reds and so forth, they can bring double that. Okay. And then on to this. Arthur also had this square form, slab constructed late 19th, maybe early 20th century vase. These turn up in pairs. This exact type of base sometimes turn up in pairs, and they always do well. A pair of these can bring 6,000 or 8,000. In single ones, they bring 2,400, which is right on the money. That's about exactly what this is worth. You sort of figure a pair is worth around 2 to 3 times the price of a single. So if you had a pair of these, you should expect to get 6,000 or 8,000 in there for them. But this was a nice one, and it did absolutely fine. It brought $2,461. For some reason, these sell very well to Chinese buyers. They love these. All right, and then on to this. This, I think, might have been a mistake by the seller. He listed this as Pactong. And to my eye, and the mark on the bottom, I hope whoever buys it gets it silver tested, because I think this might have been silver. It might have been. It could have been Paktong, but the way it's cut and the way it's worked looks more like silver to me. But at any rate, this is a beautiful one. This is an oil burner or lantern. Here it is all together. This is the cover, but a very lovely 19th century example made in the probably last 30 years of the 19th century. Beautiful quality, and it went very reasonably, $180. This was a steal of the week, one of the steals. All right, that was a very, very, very good buy. Came from a seller down in Stamford, Connecticut, and I think this was a great thing. He listed it as Paktong, and Paktong is not silver, but even as Paktong, this was a great buy. All right, because the work was great. Always look at the work, and this had beautiful work on it, really beautiful. All right, and then on to this. This I put up just because I like these big old Zijou pots, and this was a nice one. It was 23 inches tall. They're very rustic. They are not rare. They've poured out of Asia over the last 20 or 30 years. Back in the late 80s, these things could sell for 2,000 or 3,000. And then they found them everywhere in Southeast Asia, and they started exporting them. But I still like them. They're very folky. They've got a great atmosphere about them. And this one, quite reasonable, went for $305 and $60 in shipping. Like the seller was in California, so it would be $60 from there to here, which is a pretty good thing. And very folky, and probably made in the Ming Dynasty. He had it as Yuan Dynasty. I don't think so. But nice looking pot. And then on to this very nice, very delicate Ming domestic ware blue and white bowl, probably Yixing or Wanli period. Let me take a look at the mark. They stuck them. The mark won't tell you much. No, the mark doesn't tell you anything. All right, but the foot rim and everything else to me either looks Yixing or Wanli, but nice quality and good deep blue, nice outlining and so forth. And it did pretty well, but it didn't go through the world. He had it as Wanli, mark and period. I don't know if that mark reads out as Wanli or not, but I should have looked at it longer. But at any rate, $422, which was a nice price for that, but it was a particularly nicely done bowl. Scrap Dixon, Tony over in France had that. That was a good-looking bowl. All right. And then on to this, the Famille Rose, late Yongzheng, early Qianlong cup and saucer, good deep enamels. I love the laughing man on here in the green robe talking to the young lady carrying the plate. Sort of an interesting scene. And it did fine. It brought $286, which is about right for these, but a nicely shaped cup. And that cup, by the way, in case you're wondering, you've seen it many times. Later on in the 19th century, they made stacking sets of these from large to small, and they used the same exact form. Pretty much, the sides were just slightly straighter, and it didn't have this little lip. It went straight to the foot, and they would stack, and you find them sometimes with 10 or 15 cups all stacked one inside the other. They are highly collectible, and they sell for a lot of money on eBay. So if you find a set in the local junk shop for $10, grab them, and you'll make yourself about a month's pay these days. All right, and let's see. Go over here. Was this late Ming Dynasty, the double heron dish, very nicely done. Had a slight firing flaw in the center, but these always do, these sort of late Ming transitional Tianqi ware pieces. And it did fine. It brought $234. Very nice color, nice plate. This was our friends over in the Netherlands, the Shangri-La antiques. They sell on eBay under the ceramics and collectibles. They have a lot of stuff up. And then there was this. This was that horse plate that I liked so much last week, the Tianqi piece. I love the pairings of the horses, and then the other horse, the single horse, sort of coming in from the left, and lots of negative space. Gives a nice visual appeal, and it did pretty well. It brought $405. This was also from ceramics and the collectibles over in the Netherlands. There's a lot of this good Tianqi ware over in the Netherlands. And then on to this was the Cloisonne box with the Jade, the two Jade foulines, or the Chimera and the fouline. No, there's two foulines on top, and they're fighting over a piece of Lingbai. This is a nice box, okay? A nicely done piece of gilt Cloisonne. It's an older one, late 19th, early 20th century, but beautifully done. And I think the Jade was older and fitted into it. But this was a nice package, and it did pretty well. It brought $1,336. I suspect the Jade pendant, that Jade is probably worth that without the box, all right? That was a nice package, very attractive table box in Jade. And then onto this, the pair of beaker-formed dragon vases. These were late 19th century, but they were rather exuberant in the form of the upper sections, the way the mouths flared out. They really flared out, and I like the fact that the turner added some banding here above and below the midsection, and nice wave bottom. And these weren't extremely rare or anything, but this was a sort of a nice-looking pair. And they had Kangxi marks on it. It's not Kangxi, and nobody paid as though it was Kangxi, but still very attractive. And they went for $665. All right, that's a good look for $665. They look great on a mantle. All right, and then on to this. This was, I think, one of the prettiest plates of the week. This was a very, very lovely late Yongzheng, early Qianlong Chinese dish, very much in the sort of in the Chinese taste, but except that there's wonderful iron red groundwork, and then this very soft sort of celadoni ground. I love that color with dragons on it. But the decorations the enameling was very, very high quality. If you looked at it, you'll remember that the pine tree, or the weeping willow tree rather, here, very finely done and very rhythmic in its painting. And here's the other side. Again, very nice quality, good shading of the enamels, beautiful plate, just a beautiful plate. And it did well. It brought $549, but just a really lovely example. I thought that the color combination on there was pretty unusual if you're a plate collector. That was a good one. I hope one of you guys got it. All right, and then on to this, the slightly overexposed Kangxi lotus form dish or bowl. This was a nice one. This was a good-looking piece. This picture is a little better. There's a second picture that isn't quite so overexposed, but good quality decoration, brown dressing on the rim, all the things you want to see, Kangxi bottom. It's a nice looking, what you want to see on a Kangxi foot, sort of ivory white color, little bits of hand trimming is evident, and so forth. And it went pretty reasonably, $503. That was a nifty bowl. All right. I think if the primary image had been darker, more like the true color of the bowl, it might have done better. And we're going to talk about that in Cassini. This is one of the things that gets talked about, is how they look at photographs. Okay. And then over here was that Knowingness Straits teapot that was up from that seller Abundance Palettes over in Malaysia. This is a nice teapot. It started at an opening bid of $2,000, but it's a very rare type, and it ended up selling for nearly double its opening bid. It ended up selling at $3,450. It was a very nice little teapot, good color, nice pink tone in it. And then on to this. This was something we featured last week. I just thought this was a wonderful little Ming bronze, and I love the stand that someone made for it. The stand was made in China, obviously, but very nice quality, late 19th century stand. Let me see. Here's a good shot of it right there. And in this shot, you can really see the detail. You get a good sense of the patina on it. This is a nice late Ming bronze. Beautifully cat. He's leaning on his box and so forth, sort of relaxing at the end of the day. Very nice whiskers and mustaches and all that. And it did fine. It brought $1,705. But I thought that was just sort of an interesting little figure. And it was very well packaged with that stand probably 130 years ago. It was made for it. Probably, they made it in China when they had these. All right. Now, this is something I want to talk about. This was that very nice blue ground and silver metallic thread robe. This was the seller Gouache had this, okay? And it sold for $4,160, which is about right. I think we talked about it and we thought, $3,000 to $5,000, around $3,500, $4,500, somewhere in there. All right. But here's something, if you're a robe buyer, okay, you now know what this robe is going to auction for. All right. Here is a near twin to it, okay, with an opening bid of $2,000. It's up, and this is another seller in Florida, okay? Gouache is not in Florida. They are in New York. And it's slightly different, has slightly different sleeve ends on it, but very, very similar, extremely similar. All right, and he's got an opening bid of $2,000, so it'll be in the newsletter this week. If you tried to buy that other robe and you missed out, this one only has 3 days to go. This is the danger of high opening bids. That other robe had a very low opening bid and immediately was off to the races in the first week, first couple of days. This one has a high opening bid and it's got 0 bids. All right, and this is the kind of thing that we were talking about, this Cassini logarithm. These kinds of listings get punished by eBay, okay? high opening bids. They don't like them, and because it has a lower probability of doing well. All right, so at any rate, this one is only $2,000. The other one went for $4,100. Get the picture? So you might be able to pick one up fairly reasonably, and then put it back up and start it at $10 in a month or two and see how it does. All right, now on to this. This is something that's on there this week. There's a seller that's got some nice figural porcelains. They're all late 19th century. I forget how he's dating them, but they're all late 19th, early 20th century. But very nice quality. Here's a picture of the bottom of this one. These are not terribly old, but they're beautifully done. Beautiful little animal forms. I think he's got peacocks and some other things. Those will be in the newsletter this week. Very attractive. This one's up to $59. It's got 16 bids, and we'll see how it does. Also, this is one of those wonderful sort of Sung-style circular fan paintings that's been mounted, and I like this. It's a scene of a couple of scholars out appreciating the day, and there's a young lady here behind holding up a scroll, and they're examining the scroll. And over here on the table, this is a big thing in China among the literati class, the scholar class, would be to go out and appreciate nature and enjoy nature and enjoy art, and sort of blend it all together. And here they are examining this wonderful scroll, and over here on the rock, this very nice rock, they have all these other scrolls that they're going to be looking at. And you notice how this scene on this scroll very similar to the background that it's up against. And it's a lovely sort of scholarly little painting. If you like that kind of thing, check it out. It's got 8 days to go. It's only up to $17. And it should do fine, but that's a nice picture. Nice pen and ink with some colors. All right, and this is a nice beyond Mingzi Xiao jar. Beautifully painted. Here's a picture of the bottom of it. You can see the wire marks where they trimmed it off the wheel. See all those circles, those concentric circles spinning in? When they take these off the wheel, if you see a pot with these on them, they even use this, they use the same technique in Japan and in the United States, is that they put like a garroting wire under the other side of it, and then as they pull the wire under, they're trying to pull it off the turning wheel, they'll cross the wire, one hand under the other, and it pulls the wire and it creates this beautiful pattern on the bottom. That's what that is. But at any rate, this is a nice looking Xiao piece. Very, very pretty, nice glaze, good decoration. There's the mouth on it. And what's it up to? It's up to $102. This is Pud out in Ohio has this. And also it has a very nice shape. It's very well rounded. So if you like early wares, that's a nice pot. And it's about a foot tall, as I recall. Now on to this. This could be a great thing. And if you're into Yixing ware, you want to check this out, because as many of you know, this particular form of pewter teapot with script on it, with the jade handles, these often have Yixing liners, and they're often signed. And if this one has a signed good Yixing liner in it, it's a $6,000 to $9,000 pewter teapot. I can't tell by here because there's some paper in here, but it looks like this is a red clay liner. And you want to contact, if you're interested in this stuff, you want to contact this seller and ask him if it has a liner, and if it has a liner, is it cracked? And if it has a liner, is there a signature in the bottom? All right, these are highly collectible, okay? So you want to check that out, and this is a pretty rare form for these. All right, and that'll be in the newsletter this week. It's up to $101. It closes next Thursday, but it could be a sleeper. It could be a good thing to buy. All right, and then on to this. Does everybody remember this? This was sold at Caddy, or I think it was sold at Caddy, but it was on Caddy a few weeks ago, this very vase. And as I recall, it did pretty well, about $3,000 to $3,500. Now, either it didn't get paid for, or somebody bought it and put it on over here. I don't know which it is. It's the same vase, still got merit. It's a nice thing, but it's always interesting how things move around. But this was a very nice pot, nice 18th century pot, Kangxi style, 18th and 19th century they have it listed as, and it's being listed by a seller in Spain. And I don't remember who the seller was from on the other time around, but that's still a really nice pot, and maybe you can get it for less than what it went for over on Caddy. Keep an eye on it. All right, and then on to this. This is a very nice enameled Heuer with a standing foo lion, beautifully done. Looks like an 18th century example to me based on the colors and this beautiful faux bois aubergine decoration. And it's up to $142 with 2 days to go. And he has a number of other things like that up, as I recall. And then over to this. This is kind of cool. If you like Chinese export 18th century garniture sets, this is fun. This is the same, virtually identical pair of vases, but they came from different sets because they did produce these in sets, and they produced lots of them. And some of them had this red diaper, iron red diaper groundwork around the outside, and then others had the blue and white, and every man to his own taste. But at any rate, here's a picture of the bottom. Very interesting. One has a little bit of a crackle to it, but they're both about the same age. They have a few nicks around the base. But if you want to have sort of an interesting pair of vases, this would be it. They've got 8 days to go. They're up to $13, and I kind of like those. All right, and then over here to, let's see, here. There is up there right now. It doesn't have any bids left because I think it has a fairly high opening bid. But this is one of those very nice 18th to early 19th century gouache paintings that were done for the export market. This looks like and it was often they were depicting, occupational things. This looks like bags of rice right after the rice sorting ones. And a few weeks ago, we saw one of these up. And these always sell for somewhere, it seems, to between $1,100 and $1,400, all right? And if you like, and this is on paper, so if you like Chinese export paintings on paper, these are not pith paintings, they're paper paintings. They're more desirable than pith. There's a bit of a writing on here, and we'll see what it brings, all right? But if you like a nice Chinese export painting, throw a bid on this thing. This is a good one. And you can buy it now for $1,100, which is just about right on the bottom end of what these are worth sometimes. Nice one. And then onto this is I'm going to put this in the newsletter because it's kind of interesting. It's as you can see, a Chinese Cloisonne bowl, mid to late 19th century. What's really neat about it is the finial. All right, it's a Japanese, and I'm going to say the I word. It's ivory, Japanese with these enameled and raised work insects all over it, which is how it was fitted out with. Which is a pretty great thing. I think this is terrific. Here's the underside of it. There's a little bit of crackle in it. But it's a nice piece of cloisonne. It's a nice bowl. And there's a very unusual handle on the lid. It's up to $29. It closes on Sunday. All right? You might be able to get a bargain on that, okay? And then on other stuff that's on there right now at the bottom of the newsletter page is Caddy. They have a lot of Kangxi stuff up this week and some interesting pieces. It's a very nice bamboo handle teapot right here, beautifully done. And there's also a very nice Kangxi vase on here, as I recall, and some good plates and chargers. So you want to check those out pretty carefully. There's some good examples up there, okay? And that's about it for the week. Let me see what these are. Okay, that's just a blow-up of that teapot that I just mentioned. And this is one of these, this is one of the nice Kangxi things that's up there right now, is this beaker vase. It just went up. It's got 7 days to go. It'll be at the bottom of the newsletter page. But really nice and somewhat unusual pattern. But these kinds of pieces were shipped into Europe, into the Netherlands. Should bring $400 or $500 pretty easily. And that's it. So that's about it for the week. We'll work on the video for Cassini and get into explaining that. And if you're an eBay seller or you're thinking of becoming an eBay seller, I would urge you to watch it, especially if you have lots of things. It could make a very big difference on how you do. All right, and we'll go through it, give examples, and sort of a fairly thorough tutorial because the world's changing, and having good technology at your fingertips and taking advantage of it is a really, really good idea, okay? So that's about it. If you haven't signed up yet for the newsletter, come over to bidamount.com and do so. You get this link down below here. If you enjoy the videos, give us a thumbs up and have a fabulous weekend. And subscribe to the videos, too. Have a fabulous weekend and go out, hit some auctions. Hope you find something out there that you really love and you have a good time finding it. And enjoy your weekend. All righty. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.